color coordination-wise, we're perfect today. We've got the bright yellow Mrunal in the middle. We've got Hrithik on the right side of that, looking fantastic as always. And I've also managed to match some colors in. So thank you so much, Hrithik, for joining us.
Thank you.
And
Nice
Mrunal, thank you so much. First time on our show.
Thank you.
You know, you always have the opportunity of meeting Hrithik Roshan once a year at least. This year we might meet him a little bit more. But good to see you in the film's zone. You know, I always say this, the transition period, especially for when you're doing television, very successful television show. So when you end up doing film, you end up leaving a lot of money behind. You end up doing film, and that also very hardcore cinema.
Yeah.
So before we speak to Hrithik about Super 30, which has received so much acclaim and a lot of questions also, we'll come to that. But you've had a very interesting transition from film to, television to film.
Right.
Wasn't like the ideal scenario. I mean, I would have thought one would have chosen a more ideal path.
Well, to be very honest, a lot of people told me that, Mrunal, you're so silly. You know, you're doing so well in television. You should just continue doing television. Yeah. Why do you want to risk your career? You're not going to get films. And it's difficult, you know, for a television actor to get a role in...
A big role also.
Big role in Bollywood because, you know, there's this stereotype where things are changing now, I must say, because I started my career with Tabriz Noorani and, you know, the team who did not believe in ki, oh, she's a television actor or she's a theater actor or she's, you know, so the thing is that even when there were articles coming up, I was a little sad about, I was hurt, in fact, about the fact that they would always add television actor or a theater actor. An actor is an actor, you know, mediums doesn't matter. It shouldn't, actually. So it was difficult, I must say. It took a lot of time, but I'm not saying that it's impossible. It's possible, and it's happening. And
you're with Hrithik Roshan.
See?
And you know, it's not just actors, even poor cricketers. He's a test cricketer. He's a one-day cricketer. He cannot play T20 cricket. So we'll always have these little bits that we'll add to it. One or two bits that we add to Hrithik Roshan as superstar I really like. Because I really do believe that I think you're one of the most loved actors. We were just talking about it.
Yeah.
You've not been around that long also, but from your very first film, there's a lot of the things that, you know, have gone with it. Because of you, we started going to a gym. Because of you, we realized that we can't dance.
Really? So many posters of Hrithik in the gym.
You know, because of you, TikTok has become famous also because they dance like you also. And those feet that they move. So many things that have gone in your favor, and a lot of bits you've also changed. You've chosen to do films and chosen to do roles that have been very difficult, that have pushed the envelope acting-wise. Super 30 is another one of them. But, you know, you do choose very carefully as to your imaging that you want to put across, maybe, you know, the year or so, don't you?
Well, first of all, for whatever it's worth, I'm really glad that you made the switch, whatever that is called. Very happy that you're a part of this film, Mrunal. Because I've had such a wonderful time working with you. It's beautiful. It's one of the sweetest love stories that I have had the experience working with for whatever.
I'm blushing, sorry.
But now, coming to your...
It's on print, now it's everywhere, you know, he says lovely things. Yeah.
So, your question was what?
Choice of film.
I forgot.
Do you have to plan it out? You know, I say this. Very good-looking men have to choose.
You're saying that I choose very carefully.
Yeah, so sometimes did you end up choosing like a Super 30 also because it would push you much more?
It's really the opposite of what you're saying. Because a film that impacts me, see, what I do is very hard for me to do. So I really need to be motivated to be able to survive those 100 days of discomfort, because I get very uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable shooting of it?
With what I do, for whatever reasons. Yeah. Okay, so I really need to find a script that makes so much impact, and it reflects something inside me so powerfully that I would be willing to get that uncomfortable, be willing to give my right arm. I'd be willing to take the pain and whatever, the sweat and whatever. So I need to find those platforms that would empower me to give my best. Because I can't do the middle path. I've tried and I just can't. I can either give my best or nothing at all. The middle path just doesn't work for me. I don't know why. I wish it did. It doesn't work. Somehow I don't enjoy myself when I am not being pushed to my edge. if I'm not living at the edge of my potential, not only that, but edge of the potential and leaning just a little bit more forward, just enough between that fear and safety where that line is. Just there is where I enjoy the maximum.
But then there's a risk there as well. I mean,
that's the joy. That's part of the joy. I don't know. It just ignites me. I need to be ignited. Otherwise, life becomes very. This is something I teach my kids also. That kill the monotony before it murders the enthusiasm. Monotony for me is something that is poison. So I keep realizing this, and I keep saying this to myself and to my kids. Kill the monotony before it murders your enthusiasm. Because one day will come, if you keep repeatedly doing the same thing, one day will come, you will say, "Arey, aaj nahi jana kaam pe." I don't want that day.
Looking at your kids' holidays, I don't think there's any monotony in that at all. If you follow the kids,
that's a different world only. I call it a vacation, but actually it's the opposite. It's just work. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
I think Hritik has to perform for the children all the time, and that's a different zone. But when you say that risk, a lot of superstars, when they've got like this big fan following, you've got an incredible fan following, you've got this incredible responsibility, you know that you've got to make it work sometimes. That risk sometimes, would you second guess yourself also? Being a star, because a lot of actors, when they don't have much to lose, you can take any risk that you want.
Three things this reminds me of. Three values that I live by. One is always have a sense of humor, of course. So when things go wrong, and then go even more wrong, you have to laugh and say, "Arey, ye bhi ho sakta hai." Sense of humor. Second one is an answer to your question. Is never ever second guess yourself.
Right.
At a time when you are in a position where you have to do one of two things, decide. Just make a decision and don't second guess yourself, because one way or the other, it is going to help you. But if you stay in that dilemma, that is ek to suffering, and upar se the bear that has come in front of you will kill you. Yeah. So if you're deciding whether to stay still or to run, if there's a balu or whatever, if you're still or run, he will eat you. Yeah. So you should never second guess yourself. Make a strong decision and go with it. One way or the other, you will learn. If it's a wrong one, you will learn. If it's right, you will learn. So. But don't stay in that.
Sound advice. Not everybody can follow it sometimes. I mean, on paper it sounds good sometimes. But if you do take that path, I think it works. You probably did the same thing as well.
Yes.
I better do this or no looking back,
Yeah.
Coming on board this film, I think obviously there's an excitement, which I read, obviously, that you realized that Roshan was on board much later after you'd auditioned.
Yeah, I auditioned like 6 months earlier, where I did not know much about the project. I only knew that there's a film being made on Super 30. Yeah. And I auditioned and I forgot about it. And
it's like the many auditions that you go for.
Yeah, that's one thing that what I do is I test and I forget, because the moment you start thinking about it, expectation kills you. But somewhere down the line that I have performed well, I've given my 100%. So I forgot about it, and one fine day there was another bunch of rounds going on, and when that call happened, and that's when I got to know it's the Hrithik Roshan film, and I was like,
ouch.
Now my pressure, the pressure on my shoulder, I felt even more responsible, and somewhere down the line I was told that we'll do one more round with the director, we'll do one more round, and it's like, क्या मैं इतनी बुरी हूँ यार?
This is like an MBA entrance that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, tougher than that. I gave my CET entrance exam. It was way easier than this.
And so when you meet Hrithik Roshan for the first time, are there those butterflies? Because you've got all these images of the various films that are there in your head.
Yeah, I was counting pillows on his couch.
What?
Yeah, because I did not know, the best way to describe.
How many does he have?
The best thing is I don't know. So I would keep fidgeting with the pillow, yahan se wahan, yahan se wahan. He walks in like, so chill. And he asked me, do you want to eat something? I was like, no. And then we just had a chat about
The first
how...
thing I said is, do you want to eat something?
Yeah. Even though I wanted to say yes, I was like, no, thank you.
I think it goes both ways. Yeah? Even I was nervous. I was anxious because you're hoping that you'll get to work with a co-star who is going to be willing to
Go the extra mile.
Go the extra mile, allow you to make mistakes, allow you to be vulnerable because you're also trying to figure out your character and all of that. And I could have not asked for a better co-star.
Yeah, it's always good to have, like even Hritik, it's always give and take. It's not always, sometimes it happens that there are few co-actors who expect you to do something in a certain way.
Because they want to do something, and for that to happen, they want you to do something.
The exact reaction should come so that I can give this
so I can give that.
Yeah, but this was not the situation. Here we wanted to explore more about Anand and Supriya respectively. And what was even more important was the backstory. The backstory is very important. How did we meet? How did we fall in love? Who patao? Who, and where they must be meeting because it's Patna, it's 2000. It's, ladke haath pakad ke thodi na ghumte.
बहुत अलग zone था.
Very different zone. So also, how did that happen? That who made the first attempt? Who looked at, did Anand looked at Supriya or Supriya made that? So we were trying to explore all of that, and I'm so blessed that we had those situations. When you have the script, when you have the dialogues, you get you focus so much on the script and you focus so much on the dialogue, but we had a situation here. Just talk whatever you want to. Dialogues can just lead, the scene can lead anywhere, but the intention is that, but the sketch looks like, you're meeting for the first time. And how you would lead the conversation, so it's up to you. So I had that much of liberty. I
love the excitement.
We improvised a lot. And
it was amazing. I had this fear of, I went to him, I was like, Hritik, I'm not going to call you Hritik sir, because, the moment I call you sir, I'm going to, and I also have to add,
Actually, can I just be honest with you? I also get into this in-between category. Should I call you Hritik sir or should I call you Hritik? Because you're not that much elder too. But you get but that's out of respect. I would call you Hritik sir out of respect because, can I just tell you something? I have these silly man-fawning moments when I see you dance.
Yeah.
It works. Very few people have these man zones with us in our industry. So yeah.
I think, thanks. But I really think that for someone like me, I don't have any egos. I don't I don't command respect. I think that is something that should be welcomed and not demanded. So I'm cool. But I think it's very important for the person who is deciding in his own head whether I should call sir or not. You have to ask yourself, what kind of a relationship do I want with this person? Do I want to be a friend of this guy, or do I want to be? Should there be this distance of respect, or do I need to break that and be a friend? It's just as simple as that.
You managed to break it here because you're
sometimes I've had to actually tell my directors that I had to break that wall of respect so that I can fight a little bit more. So it's a good call. It's a good question to ask yourself.
But it did change the chemistry that Anand and Supriya had day one.
Yeah.
That conversation, it really changed and it elevated, and we could feel it, Yeah,
I mean, if you're calling him sir and then trying to get a romance going, not working. We'll take a little break and come right back. It's an amazing story. When you're watching a film, especially these films where you suddenly go, oh, let me just check on Wikipedia. Is this part of that film and all? It just changes the equation, and how much of it is that we would know, how much is the story of Anand, we'll find out in just a bit. Don't worry, you're on B4U with me, Salim.